Today we have a true legend joining us. She's a trailblazer who once broke barriers in a sport that once told women they didn't belong. From a small town beginnings to fighting on Mike Tyson's undercard in front of millions, she became the face of women's boxing in the 1990s. She's a former world champion, a Hall of Famer, and a survivor whose story goes far beyond the ring. Her toughness inspired a generation of fighters, and her courage continues to impact people today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to welcome Christy, the coal miner's daughter. Welcome to What's the Problem podcast. Christy Martin is here. Christy, first, I want to say thank you for coming and doing this with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. My first question, when you first trained Craig, and now you're having Craig train your fighters, how does that make you feel?
Awesome. It makes me so happy to walk into this gym and see and feel the energy that everybody's getting from Craig Duncan, because Craig was a great beam of light and energy in my gym way back in the day when he was a fighter himself. So to see that he's been able to finish up his career and now start a new career as a trainer, it makes me happy for him, but it makes me really proud.
When you first laced up the gloves, did you think you would change the how boxing is for women now?
I never thought about it like that. I just wanted to be a fighter. I just wanted to fit into boxing, and just I never thought about, hey, I'm doing this for women's boxing, or I'm doing this for so and so. I was doing this for me, and I was doing it to be part of boxing, and I was doing it to entertain the crowd, and I loved my job.
What first drew you into boxing at the time when women weren't really accepted into the sport?
So I started boxing back in the Tough Man contest in small town in West Virginia, when everybody was saying that women not only were not in the sport, but they can't be in the sport. So I'm one of those people that if you tell me, no, you can't do something, sit back and take pictures because I'm about to do it.
What was the toughest obstacle you faced in boxing, even though the women weren't really known for fighting?
It was just one thing after another. Finding promoters that were willing to put me on shows. Then if I got on shows to like help sell tickets, it was a tough journey, but I feel very proud that I made that journey.
Tell us about the Tyson and Bruno undercard. And did you know it was going to change women's boxing forever when you first fought on that card in front of millions?
Absolutely, I had no idea it was going to change women's boxing. To be on that Tyson Bruno undercard was above any dream that I could have. I'm a coal miner's daughter from a town of 700 people in southern West Virginia. So to be fighting in front of tens of thousands in the arena and millions around the world on the night that Mike Tyson fought Frank Bruno was really overwhelming, unbelievable, and bigger than I could dream.
Can you let them know who you fought on that card?
I fought Deirdre Gogarty, who was a tough-ass Irish girl, and she came well prepared and brought the whole Ireland with her, and so much excitement and so much heart. It was a great fight, and it really was the fight that changed the way people perceive women's boxing.
When you became the face of women's boxing in the 90s, were you nervous to carry that banner around?
I didn't want to carry that banner because I just wanted to be part of boxing. I didn't want people to say she's a good woman fighter. I wanted people to say Christy Martin's a good fighter.
So when they gave you that banner, did you argue about it?
I kind of didn't really accept it, and maybe looking back, I should have. But again, even today, when I think about boxing, I feel like Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, they just want people to say they're good boxers. They don't want them to say they're good for a woman or a woman. They want them to say they're good boxers. And I still feel the same today.
What was your toughest battle inside the ring? Who was your toughest opponent?
Everybody, because everybody brought their A+ game when they fought me. I would watch videos and think that, oh, it's going to be an easy night. And then I get into round 4, 5, 6, and I'm like, whoa, this is not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Looking back at fighters now like Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, what do you think of how far the boxing sport for women has come?
I think it's pretty impressive that they're selling out arenas like Madison Square Garden, and they're making big bank, and good for them. if ever they want to decide to send me a little small percentage for the doors that I opened up for them, I would appreciate it. Get with me. I'll let you know my bank account. I'm proud that I feel like we made it easier for them to be as successful today as they are.
Okay, this is a question I asked Craig. When in your mind did you lace up the gloves and say, I want to get punched in the face for a living?
I don't know that I ever actually made that decision and really thought about it. It just kept happening, and my career grew a little bit each time, and I got a little more involved as it went along. And the next thing I know, I'm signing with Don King and fighting at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas.
What kind of resistance and did you face from promoters?
Big resistance from promoters. No one wanted to give me an opportunity. Even small time promoters didn't want to put me on. And then finally, I got a break by who I think is the best promoter to ever do it, and that was Don King.
So when you were fighting on Mike Tyson and Bruno's undercard, did you ever have a fighter or a fan tell you to just quit because you're not going to make it?
Lots of people told me that I was wasting my time prior to signing with Don King, and then of course prior to that night. But once that night on the Bruno Tyson fight happened, the sky was the limit. A lot of support. A lot of people are like, "Oh wow, we want to see this woman fight again."
At what point did Christy Martin know that she made it in a male sport?
I'm still trying to make that decision. It's a really good question because I still am fighting for recognition from my male peers.
You've been open about surviving domestic violence. What gave you strength to keep fighting both domestic violence and in the ring?
My faith in God helped me, especially on the night when I had been shot and stabbed, left for dead. I prayed God showed me some way out, and He did. I was able to get up and get out of the house that night, and I keep praying, just show me the next step. I made a deal with God from my hospital bed that if He would let me live, I would help other people with the domestic violence situations, but also in boxing to help young fighters get an opportunity to fight for a title and put that championship belt around their waist.
Did boxing help you get through those darkest moments when you were shot and left for dead?
Absolutely. Boxing was strength. That was a place I felt safe, was in the boxing ring. I was in control only in the boxing ring in my entire life for those 20 years.
So how was it when you were laying in the hospital bed, just left there? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, were you thinking that you were going to die?
Absolutely. I was begging. I begged Jim Martin to please don't let me die. And then when I got out of the house and they got me to the hospital, I would ask every nurse that passed by me, am I going to die? Am I going to die? And then finally I stopped saying, am I going to die? And I started telling them, don't let me die.
What message do you hope women facing abuse or younger athletes facing obstacles take away from your story?
If Christy Martin, a coal miner's daughter from a very small town in southern West Virginia, can get back to her feet, so can they, because there's nothing special about me. But I gave them a path. I gave people a path that, look, if she can do it, I can follow that same path and I can get back on my feet.
Was Don King a great promoter?
Don King's the best promoter that's ever done it.
Okay. What advice do you give young female fighters chasing the pro dream today?
Young female fighters is the same as young fighters. Put good people around you and stay ready. Stay ready. Don't like, what is it? You have to get ready. Stay ready. You don't want to be where you have to get ready. You want to stay ready.
Yeah. If you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Stay true to you.
So Craig told me that his mojo before he fought was train hard to fight easy.
Right.
Did you follow that?
I trained hard, and I think because I never sparred with Craig, but I trained beside these guys. They trained hard, and I tried to, if they threw 5 punches, if they threw 6 punches, I wanted to throw 8. So I wanted to use what they were doing to push myself all the time. So it would make it easier on fight night. Hey.
Do you think fighters today have it easier than what you did back in the 90s?
I think both male and female fighters have it way easier, and they're making way more money than we made in the 90s, but it's a lot easier.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you, why do you think that it's easier? Is it because of the gloves? Is it because the promoters are willing to sign everybody?
Because they don't fight hard fights.
No.
No. Look at the 90s. It was like the last generation of fighters that just fought everybody.
Okay, now, do you think Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor was a tough fight? Do you think that fight was tough?
Absolutely. I think, and I also think if they fight 100 times, you're going to have 100 wars. And either of them can win at any time, but each time they fight is going to be a war, and it's going to be very close.
So in your opinion, what is the hardest female fight in today's era? What do you think is the toughest fight in today's era?
Probably those two.
Those
Serrano, Taylor. I don't know who else. I don't know who else it could be. It'd have to be those two.
And who do you think is the closest male fight and war that we've had so far?
The closest war that we've had. Anytime you see Jalapeno in a fight, Victor Hernandez, he's always making wars. It's something that fighters don't do anymore.
So do you think Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, it was a war? Or do you think it was just a...
No, because the size difference wasn't good on that fight.
Okay. What's next for you?
What's next for me? Wow. I guess I will be at the movie premiere.
Okay. What can we expect from your movie?
I hope we expect Sydney Sweeney to get an Oscar award and every other award that possibly can be given to an actress. Also, Ben Foster, who played Jim Martin, he deserves so much recognition. He did such a great job, and I hope that he gets.
So, is everything that's going to be in the movie is that everything that happened to you when you and Jim Martin?
No, but everything that happened in the movie is real. But there's much more. Mm-hmm. Read the book.
How do you want Christy Martin to be remembered? Not just as a fighter or a survivor of domestic violence.
I want people to know that, hey, Christy Martin is the person I want in my foxhole. I want her shooting with me, not at me.
So the fight with you and Layla Ali, was that fight after the domestic violence or was that before?
It was before.
It was before?
Yes.
Okay. So like, if you could break the fight down, was Jim Martin, was he mad that you?
Was he mad that I took a knee? Yes.
Okay. And like, was he, after the fight, was he like screaming and yelling?
He didn't talk to me. He didn't even come to my dressing room.
If you could see one big change in boxing in the next 5 years, what would it be?
I'd like to see fighters fight real fights. And that's what I would like to see. I would like to see us fighting, Hagler Hearns, those kind of fights. Alex Arguello, Aaron Pryor, back in the day, Carmen Basilio, those guys used to fight. They would fight each other, and it didn't matter if he won or lost. I mean, look at the heavyweights with Ali and Foreman and Frazier. Those guys, they all fought each other. Kenny Norton. It didn't matter. Whoever won, and they got back on the horse and did it again with someone else. So that's what I would love this boxing to get back to. So
do you think Clarissa Shields calling out Layla Ali, do you think that fight's ever going to happen?
No.
No? Why?
Layla's almost as old as I am, and she has 3 children, or at least 3 children, maybe more, I don't know. Sorry, Layla. And she has lots of money, and why would she try to, she's doing all kinds of successful stuff. So you don't think even the money will draw her back into the ring? No. So will we see Christy Martin ever back in the ring? I hope so. I have Craig Duncan on speed dial. I need a trainer. So if you could pick a dream fight between you and any of the fighters back in the day, or you pick any of the fighters now, who would you pick and why? Oh, so if I could pick a fight that I would like to have, if Clarissa Shields could even get a little bit close to my weight, I would like to fight her because that would be easy work. A really hard fight, great matchup, and great for the fans would be me versus Katie Taylor. And I don't say Amanda Serrano because I don't want to fight a southpaw. So Katie Taylor, we would draw a line in the sand and just fight and have fun for 10 rounds.
Okay, so why do you think Clarissa Shields would be an easy fight?
Of course, she's easy work. She's slow and she can't fight backing up.
She can't fight back.
And she has no chin.
Okay.
And I'm going to hit you.
When people hear the name Christy Martin years from now, what's the one hope you want to be remembered as? What do you want to come to people's mind when they hear Christy, the coal miner's daughter?
I want them to think that that I'm a caring person, that I care about people outside of boxing world. In the boxing world, I want them to think I was a warrior, and that from bell to bell, I tried to give them as much as I possibly could. I wanted the fans to get their money's worth.
Who gave you the name, the coal miner's daughter?
Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Okay.
He's a very famous ring announcer. I don't know if you know him. You're pretty young. But, yeah.
Okay. So what was the biggest fight card that you've ever fought
on? The biggest one I fought on, I guess, would be one like Tyson Holyfield, 1 or 2. Yeah, I fought on a lot of those Tyson cards. I fought on Chavez cards. I mean, all of Mexico turns out when Julio fights, and Julio Sr., not Jr. Yeah, I fought on big shows. Don King was my promoter, so I fought on a lot of big shows.
So as Don King, as your promoter, did you ever face a challenge with him? Like, did your promoter ever tell you, like, Christy, it's time to give up? You're not making it?
No.
So when you used to train Craig back at, what was the name of the gym?
We were in Apopka.
What was the name of the gym?
Christy and Jim Martin's boxing gym.
When you went to one of Craig's fights, what was going through your mind when he used to knock out all these dudes?
So my team rolled in white trunks, and they wanted pink. They wanted pink trim. So a lot of the other teams will be laughing like, oh, we're fighting those guys in the pink trunks. And then these guys in the pink trunks, especially Craig, was knocking people out. So it was fun. I mean, I loved it. I loved my job, and I loved being part of their success.
You also trained Juan. What was he like as an amateur and a pro?
Juan is a very solid professional fighter, good boxing mind, solid. I sparred Juan as well.
Nice. How'd that go?
I don't remember. You have to ask Juan.
So now that you're a promoter, what's next in your promoting business? Like, are you hoping to go big in promoting?
I have a fight in El Paso, October 11th. That Jalapeno is the main event, fighting for an NABF title. I'm going to take a break, and we're going to do some fundraising, boxing events for domestic violence, fundraising for domestic violence. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do some stuff here in the Orlando area, and see how it goes. So
if you could tell one person anything that happened that they're going through now that happened to you, what would you tell them? I would just say, look, stay strong. There's people out there that want to help you. If you're in a domestic violence situation, reach out to Christy's Champs. There's the hotline for domestic violence. There's domestic violence shelters in almost every major city. Even though you're in a tough situation and you don't know who to turn to, if you send a message to Christy's Champs, chances are I'm going to see it myself. So I'm going to make sure that either I respond or it gets into the right hands. You also trained Mickey, when him and Craig were sparring partners. Yeah. How did that look? Look, Mickey was probably one of the best fighters I've ever seen. At 15 years old, I think he was only 15. He fought a grown man that had just gotten released from prison in an event and schooled him. So Mickey was a special talent. Craig told me after he came back from college, he was going to go hop on a street beefs fight. And he told me that you told him, if we're going to fight, we're doing this the right way. So what was your reaction when he said, when he came to you and said, Christy, I need you to train me for a street beefs fight? I can't let him do stuff that's not right. So we got him focused and kept him in the gym. And he's a hard worker. He's an athlete. So it was easy to train Craig, really. Top. Okay. So the pink shorts, yeah. Where did that come from? You wore it, Craig wore it. Yeah. Where did that come from? I believe it was Craig and those guys, they got together and I was getting ready to buy them trunks and they wanted to wear the white and pink, and I tried to talk them out of it, actually.
and they were like, no, we want to do this. And so I thought it was pretty cool. I appreciated it. A statement back to, I felt like it was telling me they love me.
Okay. When we talk about Christy Martin's gym, Craig's mom, she didn't want him fighting at the time.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to that?
Well, it was a pressure because I have to protect him because I already know, and I know his mother, a very sweet lady, and she did not want him to box, but it was my job to protect him and make sure he was ready. I mean, I can only do so much, but by putting him in fights that he's in shape for and conditioned and physically and mentally prepared, then I felt I was protecting him and putting him in the right situations.
Did you train Craig for I think his name was Ranko, the guy that Craig's only loss was?
No.
So and did you watch that fight?
No, I didn't, and I can tell you exactly what happened. They fought in Charlotte, and I was supposed to be there, and it was on a Roy Jones card. I fell asleep, and I didn't go there. And then later, I found out that Craig got cut, and the fight got stopped. And I kept thinking in my mind, if I had been there and Craig could have seen my eyes, I could have talked him through getting that fight being stopped. But
okay, so why do you think you could have talked Craig through the fight and being stopped?
So sometimes when you're in there, you just need to find some strength from somebody. And I, even though he had his corner, it would have been like, he knows I love him, and that I feel like in my crazy mind that I could have given him strength.
So how did God help you through you being a survivor and domestic violence?
Because I prayed that, God, please help me get out of here, because if God hadn't showed me a way out, I would have been murdered. I mean, he already thought I was dead, but he would have come back and realized I wasn't dead. So he would have shot me again or cut me again or something.
So out of all the fights you've been to, pro fights, amateur fights, have you ever came across a coach or a trainer being like, you inspired my daughter or my son to start fighting?
Lots of times. Layla Ali is actually one of those people who publicly says that she started boxing because she saw me do it.
So the fight with you and Layla Ali, was that a legacy fight? Was that something to determine whose legacy was there?
I mean, probably. I mean, it probably helped establish her, and it might have hurt me a little. She was just too big, in my mind. And I still believe if I would have hit her first, I would have gotten her, but she hit me first. So hey, she won.
Has anybody ever came up to you and told you that you're a legend in women's sports?
I used to tell people all the time that would say that you're a legend. I would say, yeah, only my mother thinks that. So I don't think I'm a legend. I think I'm a warrior that just was in the right place at the right time, and I am grateful for the fans. I'm grateful for the opportunities, and thankful that God gave me the journey that He's given me.
Who's your dream to sign in Christy Martin's promotions? Like, who do you want to sign, either now or even if you started your promotion back then? Who would be the main person that you would want to sign?
So if I were back in my day, I would say the best fighter that I could sign would be, it'd be Mike Tyson, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So my roster would be like Mike Tyson and Chavez, and I was a Terry Norris fan, even though Terry got knocked out a couple times. But yeah, those would probably be my three guys.
If you could sign 3 dream fighters now, who would they be?
3 fighters that are fighting now?
Yeah.
Wow. So if we look at it just financially wise, or if we look at it by the fighters that I really like to watch, and I like to watch Tio. I can't support a fighter that has domestic violence against them. So I can't say that person.
Who would that person be?
That person's Tank. Even though as a fighter, I like to see Tank, and then he's always could knock somebody out, but I can't have that person on my roster. Yeah, there's not a lot of guys that make sure that I turn the TV on to watch.
So are you excited to watch Jalapeno fight on October 11th?
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you have signed Tony Aguilar, right?
Yes.
Is
Tony's been with me for like 6 years, 7 years.
When is he fighting again?
He's
When will-
fighting October 24th in Washington, D.C.
Nice. So when you signed guys like Jalapeno, well, what did you think was going to happen when you first signed them?
Yeah, well, when you first sign them, you never really know. But the dream is that we're going to put belts around their waist. And that's Victor, that's Sheldon, that's Kimon. We got to get Kimon back on the right track. We have Devin Parrish out of Chicago. That's going to be down here soon training with Craig. We have a cruiserweight that's in the top 20 in the world right now, Tobar Apochi, that is just like he's the next fight to be for a world title.
So when you first signed all these guys, did you ever think that you would sign Jalapeno, Tony, and all the other guys?
No, you just never know. Like, I wasn't signing any fighters. People were asking me to sign the fighters, and I wouldn't because I didn't feel like I could give them a proper opportunity. But now everything's a little different, and I feel like we're getting people in the right position.
So did you reach out to the fighters to sign them, or did they reach out to you?
So I have never reached out to any fighter to sign. Lisa, my wife, and Vic kind of exchanged messages on social media, and that's how that came about.
So do you think Christy Martin Promotions will be one of the biggest promotions in boxing history? If not now, then in the future?
I don't know, because right now we're getting ready. We just bought a training center, 16 acres in Deltona, and I really want to put a lot of work into building that, and not just with boxing, but with punching for Parkinson's, doing some domestic violence awareness classes there, building up an amateur team, and then of course we'll have professionals there as well.
So how do you think Jake Paul's doing for the woman now?
Jake Paul's absolutely making an opportunity for women's boxing that no one else could do, no one else would do, and lots of kudos and thank yous to Jake Paul for what he's doing, opening up so many doors for women's boxing.
So do you wish in the 90s that Jake Paul was there to sign you and give you a big payday?
If it wasn't for what I did in the 90s with Don King and Mike Tyson and Showtime, then Jake Paul wouldn't be here even thinking about women's boxing.
Who was the hardest hitter that you faced back then?
I don't know. Everybody hit hard.
Was there ever a time when a girl hit you, you were like, dang, she really hits hard?
So I got hit a couple times. Like Layla hit me hard enough that I don't really remember half the fight. And then I got hit other times that, gives you that little zzz.
So, and did you ever have a fear when you stepped in the ring of being knocked out?
My only fear when I stepped in the ring was that I was going to lose. I did not ever fear someone could hurt me. I always was just afraid I was going to lose.
So if you could give advice to a young person as an amateur or a pro who's been knocked out and you could help them through that, well, what would you tell them?
That's a tough one because I think everybody deals with the knockout differently. And it's even just after a loss, it's hard sometimes to get back in the gym and gain that confidence back. So after a knockout, you have to get back in the right mindset that they just happen and it's not going to happen again.
So if you could tell them anything, what would be one thing that you could say that would hopefully help them in the future?
So as a fighter, I would tell them just get back up on the horse, get back in the gym and do what you do. Believe in yourself. As a promoter, I think if you've been knocked out seriously hard one time, maybe, take a little extra time off and make sure that you're okay.
So when you first became a world champion, and what belt did you win, the WBC?
Yes, sir.
So when that WBC belt was strapped around your waist or given to you by Don King, Well, what was your reaction when you were like, as a woman that didn't belong, I became a world champion?
Pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I showed you. All you naysayers, I showed you.
Who helped you out of the house?
No one. God.
No one. So when you ran out the house, who was there to take you to the hospital?
So my angel, his name is Rick Cole, and he lives in the neighborhood across the street from where I live. And I'm actually going to be having dinner with him in the next couple of days.
Nice. So when you seen your movie in Toronto and you seen that Sydney Sweeney did an amazing job, how do you feel that you came from being a Hall of Famer in the 90s, winning a world championship, to now about to have your own movie about what's been going on about in your life?
It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm just like your neighbor.
Yeah.
So I'm not that person that's like arrogant and all this stuff. So it's pretty overwhelming, but it's awesome. And I really hope that the movie does well. I hope it's received well, and I hope it's that movie that stays around, that in 20 years, some father sits down with his daughter and says, watch this, because I don't want this to happen to you.
Thank you for coming and doing this with me today.